Trickle-down economics is a scam. How the 1% and their businesses do not pay their fair share of personal and corporate taxes so that the rest of us pay for all the programs in the system is a financial crime against the masses. The 1% beg for taxpayer bailouts when they have made poor decisions or changes in the markets while refusing to take a pay cut, not to mention stealing from taxpayers when they take bonuses in the millions of dollars. In this article, bailed out banks gave millions in executive bonuses. New York AG report shows Citigroup, one of the biggest recipients of the government bailout money, gave employees $5.33 billion in bonuses for 2008, New York Attorney General said Thursday in a report detailing the payouts of 9 big banks. The report from Attorney General Andrew Cuomo's office focused on 2008 bonus paid to the initial 9 banks that received loans under the government's Troubled Asset Relief Program last fall. Cuomo has joined other government officials in criticizing the banks for paying out big bonuses while accepting taxpayer money. Citigroup, which is now 1/3 owned by the government as a result of the bailout, gave 738 of its employees bonuses of at least $1 million, even after it lost $18.7 billion during the year, Cuomo's office said. The New York-based bank received $45 billion in government money and guarantees to protect it against hundreds of billions of dollars on potential losses from risky investments. There's no clear rhyme or reason to the way banks compensate and reward their employees, Cuomo said in the report, noting banks have not in recent years actually tied pay to performance as they claim when describing their compensation programs. Cuomo added that when banks' performance deteriorated significantly, they were bailed out by taxpayers and their employees were still paid well. Bank of America, which also received $45 billion in TARP money, paid $3.3 billion in bonuses, with 172 employees receiving at least $1 million. Merrill Lynch, which Bank of America acquired during the credit crisis, paid out $3.6 billion. Bank of America earned $2.56 billion in 2008, while Merrill lost $30.48 billion. Cuomo's office said Merrill Lynch doled out 696 bonuses of at least $1 million for 2008. Bank of America has been sharply criticized for its acquisition of Merrill Lynch because of mounting losses in the Wall Street Bank and the size of bonuses Merrill's paid its employees. Of the $45 billion in bailout funds Bank of America received, $20 billion was to support the acquisition of Merrill. Neither Bank of America nor Citigroup have repaid their TARP loans. Here's another article. Top CEOs earn 246 times more than the average worker, by Jim Wilson. CEO to worker pay gap reached new at all-time high, finds report. The payback between the top executives and the average worker in Canada was at its widest in the year 2022, according to the recent report from the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives. Canada's top 100 CEOs in 2022 made 246 times more than the average worker, according to the report. That's an all-time high. While these executives were paid an average of $14.9 million in 2022, the average worker got an average wage of $60,600 that year, found the report based on the data from 234 companies. Just in the second day, 23-24, these top CEOs have already made what the average worker would earn in the entire year, noted David McDonald, senior economics with the CCPA. The average CEO collects $7,162 an hour. It takes just over 8 hours in the new year for the top 100 CEOs to clock in an average of $60,600, what the average worker in Canada makes in the entire year. By 9:27 a.m. on January 22nd, 2023, Canada's top CEOs would have already made $60,600, while the average Canadian worker will toil all year long to earn that amount of pay. In 2021, the highest paid Canadian CEOs took home an average of $14.3 million, and they made 243 times more than the average worker. In 2020, the top CEOs made $10.9 million, 191 times more than the average worker did. While the wave of inflation has been crashing down hard on regular Canadians, Canada's top 100 highest-paid CEOs have been riding it to another record-smashing year. Inflation presented a once-in-a-lifetime chance for corporate Canada to jack up prices and pad their profit margins, said McDonald. The average CEO collects $7,162 an hour, and the minimum CEO wage of the top 100 is $3,220 an hour. The top 100 CEOs, on the other hand, saw an average raise of $623,000 or 4.4%, going from $14.3 million in 2021 to $14.9 million in 2022. Meanwhile, the average worker pay rose from $58,800 in 2021 to $60,600 in 2022. Thousands of workers held strikes in 2023, calling for higher pay and better working conditions, among others. Extreme pay packages, bonuses drive CEO pay, said McDonald's, as the salary part of their pay remains relatively constant at around $1 million a year. In 2022, stood at $1.2 million. As bonuses keep rising, the $1 million salary becomes increasingly irrelevant, he said. The senior economics lists 4 recommendations to address these extreme pay packages and the special type of income they use. Number 1, create new top income tax brackets. Number 2, remove corporate deductibility of pay packages over $1 million. Number 3, introduce a wealth tax. And number 4, increase the capital gains inclusion rate. So this ongoing abuse of taxpayers by the rich and shameless in their businesses has gone on long enough. The rich are laying off thousands of staff positions, fighting union development, refusing to pay a livable wage or give full-time positions, refuse to give health benefits, pensions, sick days, while their only concern is to their shareholders and making as much money with absolutely zero accountability. The rich and shameless rape our shared Mother Earth of her resources while producing hazardous material that they have zero responsibility for. This abuse of our shared Earth has gone on long enough. It has gone on way longer than it should ever have. The neglect and abuse of our Earth from these greedy industry conglomerates has gotten us to this very critical spot. We have 2 roads. 1, continue doing things as we have allowed that is destroying our world. Or 2, make the painful decision to change how we think in everything we do, and how we treat our world and the living life forms that inhabit her. We as a whole, the 99% of us, need to demand more from our governments and industry accountability. And for accountability to future generations, we have to demand that we move our entire system to a new sustainable one that will ensure our children have a future. This is the solution that my meditation gave me that sunny afternoon sitting on my deck. This is the system that will answer the bulk of our prayers for a sustainable future. This is the system that I'm asking people to learn about so that we can all be a part of the solution and not sit helpless and complain, ensuring our global destruction. I'm so honored to be bringing this system to the world. What system am I speaking of? And how did it come about? How did I develop the Global Grain Democracy Initiative, or GGDI? I spent several years meditating for a better world for my children and others. I now understand that I have been meditating for years and never knew. During one of my meditations around 8 years ago, I had my questions answered when I had this system downloaded into my mind. This system is the exact opposite of our current one built on greed, corruption, hate, and destruction, and change to one built on equality, equity, and ethically build our system with the sole goal of everyone and everything being protected and sustainable. I was gifted with this reverse financial system that will change our world outcomes for generations to come. I figured out early on that in order for us to heal humanity and move our world to sustainability, we have to include all nations, developed and developing. But to heal us and build a new world, we have to build a system that is the exact opposite of the current one. We have to limit partnerships with countries who rule by autocratic means and communism, that we can't save humanity in our world and build a system that supports countries that violate their citizens' human rights and treat women and girls as property instead of human beings. These 2 philosophies do not match. They are like oil and water and are not compatible. In order to build this new world, we had to limit who we would support, and that only includes democratic nations who give girls and women equal rights. World survival depends on bringing all nations together. Then we need to lift up developing countries to heal our world. That inequality, poverty, and the acceptance of others to suffer is the rot that is destroying humanity, and the system I designed will change that landscape of the world for the better. In order to heal the world environmentally, we need to invest in a new and fairer and equitable future for all.